What's going on, everybody? Today is the 1 year anniversary to my YouTube channel, Elroy District. This first year has been a complete positive experience, and I need to thank you all. I need to thank YouTube for just giving everybody around the world a platform to just share whatever it is that they like to do. So in this video, we're going to take it from the top. I'm going to give you all a full-on houseplant tour. So let me give you a little bit of intel when it comes to my house. This house is an investment property, so I try to keep things minimal when it comes to furniture, paint, and things that I connect to the walls, and houseplants can really fill in that void for all of that fancy stuff, and it can make it look like a lot more is going on than what it really is. So hopefully you all enjoy this houseplant tour, and hopefully you get some tips and tricks. So let's get it started. Houseplant Tour 2023. So when you first walk in my house, the first thing you get is the living room. So any plant that I put down here, it has to be hardy, it has to be tough, because it's the first thing you see when you walk in. So starting with this area, I have this 3-plant ensemble. I got these pots from Home Depot, and they look like they are cast iron, but they're actually plastic. So I thought that they looked a lot more expensive than, what they really are. And I have these 3 plants. I swap these plants out often because I needed to figure out which plants actually do well in this area. So we have Anthurium jungle bush, we have money tree, and we have a Schefflera. As far as this little stick here, I found that on the streets when I was walking my dog. I've been doing that lately. I collect, different branches just so that I can do projects with them in the future. But any plant that is down here in the living room needs to be tough and hardy, because they will be neglected, and it is low light. So they have to be able to take an underwatering, and I don't want any type of yellowing leaves and drooping plants, because it's the first thing you see when you walk in the door. So I did mention that it is low light, but I do have a small little Sansi LED above just to help out a bit, and these plants seem to be doing just fine. I definitely water these just whenever I get around to it. That may be only once a month, but they do fine. I think the money tree is kind of like a Codex plant, so it does fine with underwatering. The Schefflera does fine, and to my surprise, this Anthurium does too, and it just flowers all the time. It's always putting out a flower. So that is this area. Then moving on to the corner of the living room, it's not much going on here. I keep things minimal because, I think, as I said before, I'm only gonna be living here for 2 more years, maybe 3 years tops. But I have a Raven ZZ plant sitting next to this fountain here. I really like the Raven ZZ because I can put it anywhere, I water this plant maybe once every month and a half. And every time I water it, I actually sit it over there by the window so that it can get light for a couple days, and then I'll put it back. And just this plant sitting over here in this low light, it does get kind of leggy, but it actually looks good on this Raven ZZ, being that these stems are just getting tall, reaching for light. So it is 2 plants in here, and it's already getting pretty bushy. One thing about the Raven ZZ is the new shoot comes out with these lime green leaves, and then they fade down to a darker green, and then eventually to this glossy black color. So moving along to my mini bar area, above all of my little alcoholic drinks, I have this moss wall art piece that I made last year. I do not like artificial plants, but I don't consider this artificial because it is dried, preserved moss, you know. So I felt like it was a cool design. I bought a picture frame and I glued all of that moss onto it. And right below it, it is accompanied by another money tree that's not doing so well just because it's in very, very low light and it barely gets any water. Over here by the entertainment area, I actually designed this whole little built-in for my TV and this electric fireplace. But on the side of that, we have this fern. I'm not sure what kind of fern it is, but it is just massive. I bought it as like, you know, a medium-sized plant, but it's kind of like just going crazy. I know that when it comes to ferns, you have to keep the soil moist, but I let this thing dry out and it still lives to fight another day. But the cool thing about this plant is, you know, during the summer when it's getting good light, the new fronds actually come out with like a blue color. But since it's getting low light, it kind of turned green, but maybe you can, yeah, I'm not sure if you can see with any of these leaves, it's comes out like an ashy blue color. And that's the cool thing about this plant here. What's up, Soul? Say what's up to everybody. Okay, just yawn on them, okay. And on the other side of this entertainment center, we do have a snake plant. Snake plants will actually put up with any type of conditions. In my experience, I have this one here and it is actually grown. I have this one outside when the weather permits or if the weather is pretty decent, and you know, I bring it in because I know that it will just chill out and it won't do anything and it'll look good. But I think everything around the perimeter is new growth. I think this is all how I originally bought it. This shoot right here is new. I know that this leaf is new and this leaf is new as well. So, you know, that is the living room area. So moving along to this hallway, I have this infamous plant stand. I really like this plant stand, but you know, I had to switch it up a few different times. So this is how it is looking currently. I have a project that I'm gonna be doing with this plant stand. As I mentioned before, plants down here, downstairs, they get neglected. So I am doing a project where I'm gonna grow all of the plants on this shelf in nothing but water, you know, just nothing but tap water. I'm gonna let everything just vine all over the place. So let me take you through. This is a birthday gift. My cousin got me this chameleon ZZ. What happens with this ZZ is it comes out cream color and then it fades down to green, kind of like the Florida Ghost. So let's see. Yeah, chameleon ZZ. So I was actually really happy to get this one. This one has vibes here. I have a few different cuttings just growing in water. That's my whole new thing for this area. Have these plants growing in water, and I will keep them there for as long as they will stand it. This is a hybrid. This is a Ruizii crossed with a Trichet, and it seems to be doing fine. It has rooted up in this water. These are some more plants that I have growing in water. Right there is a ring of fire that I brought in from outside. This is growing in water as well. This is a Philodendron Delinksii. The Philodendron Delinksii is supposed to be a trilobed plant, but it was out in the greenhouse and it just sort of kind of turned into a gigantium or something. But it's growing in a cup of water. A lot of roots there. It's Aglaonema. And this Leitnamii is actually growing in water as well. And I have some Hoya pubicalis cuttings in that cup of water. So that's gonna be interesting. I got a Leitnamii growing in nothing but tap water, and I'm gonna see how long that lasts. I think it'll be okay. Then I have a couple of hanging plants that are just here for the time being. And if you go below, I have this big monstrous Scindapsus exotica. Now that it is very, well, I bought it established, but I can put this one anywhere. Low light, high light, it kind of just does its thing, and it has vined all the way over there. But I will cut this one up a little bit and start growing it in water. But yeah, that's this plant stand here. Oh yeah, by the way, I do have a couple of plants sitting on the windowsill behind this curtain. Let me pull that out real quick. I actually have this variegated hibiscus growing on the window. I have a couple of them, behind this little curtain growing on the windowsill. That window is very cold, but these plants seem to be doing just fine growing on that windowsill. All right, here's my dining area. I do not have any plants sitting on the table. All I have is this damn wheatgrass or whatever that is. But in this corner, I do have my Hoya Crimson Princess. This plant right here has grown all the way down on the floor, and I had to chop it back so that it can fit here. And below that, I have one of my favorite plants that I have downstairs, this Aglaonema Silverstone, I believe it's called. So all the rest of these plants down here are supposed to be outdoors, but I mean, obviously it's too cold and it's raining right now. So I just have them here for the time being so that they can get this this south facing window. The light comes through, for the winter time, and it'll keep these plants going. But check out this Philodendron 696. Hold on, let me pull this one out. Philodendron 69686. This plant has gotten massive. This is the newest leaf. Look at that. We got big bunny ears. We got moss pole connection. So this plant has been growing outside, and I'm not sure if my dog took a bite out of this leaf here or not, but it really don't matter. This plant just keeps going. There's a lot of roots going inside of that moss pole. Oh, y'all see this variegated string of pearl ready to take it to the floor? Yeah, that thing is just growing like crazy, and I don't do anything. All right, this is my kitchen. And I do have a lot of propagations on this windowsill and even on my little dish rack. A few on this counter as well. But the one thing that I wanted to show you in the kitchen is this new little propagation station that I got for my birthday. So I did get this little propagation station a couple weeks ago. I don't really want to promote it or anything like that, just because I didn't have it long enough, but it seems to be doing the trick. And one thing I like about it is that it is small, so it fits, on my counter. I don't really use a lot of counter space because I'm the type of guy that uses my blender and my air fryer on a daily basis. Everything else, I don't really need a lot of prep space, but This does not take up any space at all. And the one thing that I really like about it is that it has its own light. This light is adjustable, and this reservoir is detachable. So I can take this off and show you all my propagations just like that. And what happens is this base here has a magnet, and the magnet will turn the little propeller in here, and that's what swishes the water around and creates some aeration. So I like the fact that it is detachable, and this is a good size to propagate some insignificant cuttings. I got all kinds of Hoya, philodendron, what is this, micans. This is some type of patriciae or something like that that I cut up and I rooted in here. So I got this little propagation station for free. I got, a credit card for Amazon, and I built up a lot of points, and I'm able to get some free stuff. But I really want to see what this do, because this might be the way for me, doing a lot of propagations. Like I said, I have all of these on my window. If I were to have, something like this kind of puts everything in one place. And let's just check this out. You're able to take the lid off, and let's see here. Oh yeah, we got roots all under there. So I did stuff. So I did stuff a little bit of sphagnum moss inside of each of these, each of these holes, and then I put the cutting in there, and sure enough, we got crazy roots on just about all of them. The way that this thing works is you can turn on the fan so that you can aerate the water. It's a magnet under there that will, you hear that? It's starting to turn the water around so that the water can aerate and provide air to the roots, as well as, water, obviously. And it definitely has, two different timers. And then, you have this light that you can turn off, damn. Okay. Yeah, so you can turn this light off, and then you can turn it on. But I don't really want that running all day. What happens is it is like an interval. It'll run for 1 hour, and then it'll turn off for 3 hours. Run for 1 hour, turn off 3 hours. That's if you leave it on. I only turn mine on for about 15-20 minutes, and then just cut it off for the rest of the day. So, that right there is pretty cool. I do have this pasta, what is it? Not a pasta xanthum. This Plowmonii has been living in my kitchen for quite a while. This is a Ruizii crossed with Patriciae. That is a Medrium right there. And I'm not gonna go through all of those propagations on the window. All right, let's go ahead and go upstairs so we can check out this plant room for 2023. All right, so we upstairs, and now we're going to enter the new plant room. Okay, so let's go ahead and start over here on the left. This is my anthurium section. And I am dependent 100% on grow lights for this new setup that I have here. I do have my Sansi LEDs, and everything is just working out really fine. So I got all of these anthuriums set up on these tables that I found at a secondhand store for a very good price. I don't think I'm going to go through all of these anthuriums, but man, I just enjoy coming in here, being able to see all of these. Let us start with this hybrid here. This is Anthurium copper cherry. This is the newest leaf. I've showed you all this plant a few times. Comes out red and fades down to whatever color that it decides. Next, we have this nice little Anthurium Doc Block. I really like that one. And then we have this little Anthurium clarinervium. It's coming along fine, growing in the path cow. Roots is crazy. The leaves are actually starting to be productive. Then we have a few of my newcomers. In my last video, I showed you the Anthurium sagittatum. This thing is just perked right up and it's just doing really well. And check out this hybrid here. This is Magnificum crossed with Moranense crossed with Bessier. I just got this one for my birthday haul and it already put out a new leaf. So interesting shape on that new leaf. We'll see how it expands, you know. So I set that one up in a self-watering pot and it's doing just fine. One of my favorites right here, this is the Anthurium Cristo La Negra. That's what we're gonna call it. It's Anthurium Negro Laminum crossed with Crystallinum. And right behind that, we have Anthurium Bessier. I know this one you're supposed to give it low light, but it is underneath this strong LED right here. So I'll tuck that away later on. You know, all the way in the back, I think I have my largest Anthurium. That's the Esmeralda Dense. I do not think that this plant is fully acclimated because I don't see any roots coming down the sides of the pot or anything like that. Next to it, we have this large crystal mag. This is the newest leaf. It's a little bit lighter in color, maybe because of these strong grow lights above. But I still have that one growing through rocks in, you know, my Anthurium mix, and it seems to be doing just fine. Below that, we got Forgetii Dark, just put out a new leaf. We have a Crystallinum, another Crystallinum, and then we have this Rehab Warocquianum. So I'm just gonna leave it there. I think it'll rehab just fine. But you know, next to that, we got a baby Warrock that just put out this nice new leaf soon as I put this plant here, you know. So that one is looking pretty promising. Check out this hybrid here. So let's read the tag. This is a Ace of Spade crossed with Papillilaminum, and then they crossed that with the Bessier F. This is the newest leaf, and I really like it. So it's just a seedling. I have plenty of seedlings that I have grown. Here are a lot more of them. So this is a Magnificum Silver crossed with Luxuriance. So it's 3 of them in there. And that is an Ace of Spade crossed with Luxuriance. So this is just, you know, hybrid city over here. So let's talk about hybrid seedlings for a minute. I have grown about 8 or 9 hybrid seedlings, and I do not give them anything special care. It's a hybrid, so it will adjust to your, you know, your conditions and wherever you put it, especially when you get it as a seedling. So I'm not covering these. I've never covered these. I bought these seedlings as little sprouts and I never covered them up. I left them out in the open just like everything else, and they have been growing. This seedling has a new leaf. I think a couple of them have a new leaf, and you know they just adjust to whatever conditions that you give them. So that's the whole thing. When you grow the hybrid seedlings, they will adjust to your conditions. Shout out to my friend Sheena. Sheena gave me these crystals. She sent me these crystals, and I have them set up, you know, on my Ethereum table because they, you know, they just give me some vibes. And you know, she has like a business where She sells crystals and she knows all about them. So, she definitely keeps up with me and just gives me good vibes. And I appreciate her for giving me those. So standing tall on this table is this Alocasia Sabrina reticulata. It is putting out a new leaf right now, and I just have it sitting here for the time being. We have another Forgetii Dark, and we have this Waraquiana Mesmeralda, not looking too good, but it is here. Right there, that is my Thai constellation that will never grow. And this is an Anthurium decipiens. It's starting to look a lot better than it was when I first got it, so that's doing pretty good. So check out this Anthurium tree that I've made. I think a couple videos ago, I made this Anthurium tree and everything is just doing well on here. The Forgetii put out a new leaf. Here's another Anthurium copper cherry that's doing well. It's not as colorful as that one there, but it's doing pretty well. Then we have the Anthurium Black Beauty here. So it's doing pretty good. I like the idea of that Anthurium tree. And right next to it, I have my Philodendron El Choco Red. I just did a reel because I came in here and I saw this stem right here. This stem is crazy. It's just putting out all kind of texture and and color. Wow, that looks pretty good. Yeah, I like that El Choco Red just, sitting there. So not only do I have an Anthurium tree, but I do have this Hoya tree. And it came out pretty good. So on top, I just wedged that Hoya polyneura on the top for the time being. Then right below that, we have the Hoya New Guinea Ghost. This one is pretty cool, and it seems to like it here because it put out these new leaves. And I think we have a couple sets of other new leaves on the way. And down here we have, what is this? The Hoya clemensorium. So I'm gonna just let that one just go ahead and vine all everywhere. I wanted it to, wrap around this tree, but I'll do something about that later on. This here is a Hoya obscura. It's getting a little color on it and it's putting out new leaves, so that's pretty cool. And in between, we have this Crassiopediolata splash coming through. It's just, vining all over the place, but the source of it is down here. So that's pretty cool. This here is a Hoya Germany. And right below that, we have, I don't know, this is the Hoya Cell Block 8. I'll put the name of it on the screen because I don't remember. So, for now, that is my Hoya tree, and I really like it. One thing I'll note is all of these in the plastic cups, there is no drainage. So I have a chunky mix that consists of moss, bark, and different types of rocks, and I have it in a drainless cup with charcoal on the bottom. And that is an easy way for me to just spray a little bit of water in there, and I don't have to take it off of the tree to water it. So that's a quick little tip for something like this. No drainage is definitely a lot easier when it comes to just hooking these on to a tree. Next, we have this plant stand here. I believe it's mostly Hoya, but it's, it's a few other things on here. So check this out. I just got this Anthurium lapoanum. I believe that's what it's called. It is one of those corrugated anthuriums that I believe it needs high humidity. So it was an import, and this is the first leaf to go. As soon as that first leaf started dying, we got some new growth down there. It start putting out this new leaf right away. So I think this one is just doing its thing, and it'll, be cool. But that's a cool little anthurium that I hope to cross with another anthurium in the future. All right, right above that, we have this philodendron burl marks variegated. I have this one growing in a cup of water, and I think I'm gonna leave it like this. I do want like a big bush of philodendron burl marks just growing in water. I think that'd be cool, you know? So I think that looks pretty good, and just hopefully it does its thing, the way that it just multiplies, and yeah, that'll be pretty cool. Next to that, that is a Anthurium cyranoid velvet that I propagated. So we're gonna let that stump come back to life. Behind there is a Syngonium radii, more propagations. We have, this is a Hoya undulata. I imported that a while ago, and it's doing just fine. I have multiples of those. Then back there we have some Ficus shivriana. In another cup of water, we do have my Syngonium aurea. I have these all over the place, but this one is just growing in water, and I think I'm gonna go ahead and keep it that way. And then on the edge of this table, we have my philodendron. What is this called? Philodendron crassonervum, I believe. Yo, this plant is just, it's a succulent. This plant is a succulent. I tell you now that I water this plant maybe once a month, maybe once every month and a half or so. And it just still keeps going. Uh, it has a new leaf here with some long aerial roots. I was trying to get it to climb up this pole, but what's going to happen is I'm about to propagate this plant uh, sometime this week, next week. I don't know. But yeah, this one was growing over rocks, and it's a very hardy philodendron. Like I said, you see these fat stems. This plant is like really like a succulent. So for the second row of this shelf, I have like a Hoya Nap 09, I believe it's called. That's a Hoya Wyetii variegated. Finlaysonii back there. That's a philodendron variegated heteroecium. Oh, this one's cool right here. This is one of the new Pink Princess. It's the Pink Princess Marble. And there's a big difference between, the regular Pink Princess and this one. This one does have a very swirly marble variegation on it. So I bought this as a tissue culture packet, and we'll see what it turns into. But it's two of them in there. So this one is obviously a philodendron Jose Bueno cutting. Hoya crassiopediolata splash. And back there is a Syngonium green splash. I really like this one. I wanna make a lot of these, So I'm gonna propagate this one like crazy. I may just grow it in water too. But it has like the green specks on it, and sometimes it has like a pink blush on the leaves. So when it comes to this top row, we have the Hoya Caudata Splash. You guys seen a lot of this. It's putting out some new growth right here. And the splashing is just crazy on it. Then we have the Hoya macrophylla doing well. These are the new leaves on top. We have the Hoya Botanica and what is this? Hoya Croniana Splash. So when it comes to this window, it's like a whole entire jungle over there. So I want to be able to take these off of the shelf and show you all. Right here we have my Philodendron Ruizii. Got some mechanical damage. I kind of cut this leaf and it's putting out a new leaf right here. So it's doing just fine here. Wheezy F baby. Next we have my Philodendron Domesticum variegated. It's putting out new leaves. This thing grows like a weed, I tell you. So my Philodendron Florida Beauty has finally grown up. It's connected to this pole and it's putting out these really large, mature shaped leaves. Every leaf is variegated, so that's a good thing. Nothing reverted. These were like the original leaves when it was a seedling, and it's just growing up. Pretty cool. I actually like this pole for this plant. If you can kind of see in there, it's starting to grow all kinds of moss and fern inside of the pole, and I kind of like that look. So this is my Florida Beauty. Okay, so this Billietier has to go outside. This thing is just, look at the wingspan on it. This thing is going crazy. Look how big this leaf is compared to my hand. You know, and it just won't stop. Every leaf, I'm pretty sure, is gonna be even bigger than this. So I gotta hurry up and get this outside. The whole plan is, if I get it outside and it's getting top down light, then maybe all of these stems will kind of rise up and it'll kind of grow in a nice rosette, being that I can't put this on a moss pole. Like, look how thick and wiry these aerial roots are, you know? So I don't think I want to even put this on a moss pole. I'll let these just, you know, go down into whatever media these roots can find, you know? So that is my Philodendron Billietier. On this windowsill, we have a few Hoyas. This is Hoya undulata propagation and Hoya lambii red. This is the obovata variegated, and this is another Hoya obscura. Look at the sun stress. So I noticed that this window is a bit cold, and when the sun comes through in combination with that coldness, it starts to get the red color. So that's pretty cool. Also on this shelf, we have Philodendron Pluto down here. So this is like the caramel marble, but it's the original version. This is not variegated. It does emerge with a red leaf, if you can see that. And you know, has those nice serrated shape to the leaves. And it gets pretty big, as you can see. Yeah, you can see how it comes in with the burgundy leaf there. What is this here? Let's see. Oh, this is my Philodendron Bob C. It was giving me some trouble, so I had to cut the leaves off. And yeah, it's doing fine. It's definitely connected to this moss pole. You see all of those roots off in there. We have another burrow marks variegated here. We have some type of Hoya that just will not grow. And then up here we have some little small plants. This is Hoya Thomsonii. We have a lambii red, and this is a Philodendron Snowdrift. A Above here, we have a philodendron orange marmalade. Yeah, this is the philodendron orange marmalade. I bought it as a 1-leaf cutting, and it took a while, but it started to grow. So this is the new tester leaf, and being that this chunk is so big, I'm pretty sure the next leaf will probably start to size up really quick. And up here we have a 2-headed philodendron Plowmontii. I say 2-headed because it has this shoot and it also has another shoot, so it's growing like 2 different ways. So one thing about the Plowmontii, you need to give it top down light, or else it will lean with it, rock with it, it'll stretch, you know, all kind of ways trying to find the light. But it's weird because it does stretch towards the light, but it doesn't need bright light. Because if you come down here, we have the big Plowmontii. This one right here is just straight up spectacular. I am like loving this leaf. Look at the color in the center of it. That's crazy. So this is the one that I have growing over rocks. And it has a very rippled edge. But yeah, that's the one. And you know, being that we have this LED coming from, you know, top down, it's behaving itself when it comes to the growth pattern. Unlike that one that's just, you know, stretching out and leaning all kind of different ways. So down here we have a prop box. I don't even know what's in here. But it looks like everything is sprouting and is growing. I don't know what's in here, but I do know that one of those chunks is a philodendron luxurians, and I'm kind of waiting for that one to come back. So if I see a luxurians leaf, I'll go ahead and, you know, start putting a little bit of extra care into that. Next to that, we have a Bessier. I'm waiting to put this one outside in the greenhouse so I can turn this one into a mother plant. And we have this Anthurium Curamelins. It's not doing too good outside, indoors. And when I keep it outside, it does a lot better. Right here we have a Monstera Lecher. I don't even know how to say the name of it, but it's kind of like a bigger version of an Adansonii. As soon as it climbs up, it'll start to fenestrate and it'll be variegated. So I feel like this is a good cheap option rather than getting an elbow or even getting the variegated Adansonii. This is the one right here. Next to that, we have a Splendid propagation. We have a Glorious propagation. And we have my Manjula Pathos. This thing has definitely connected to the pole, and I'm liking the way it's coming along, you know. It's about, what, 2 plants in there, and it's popping off. Do know that, you know, the Manjula Pathos grows a bit slow, but you know, these leaves, I believe, will start sizing up. One cool thing about the Manjula Pathos is it'll come out real ice white, and then once it starts getting these green speckles on the older leaves, it will expand and get bigger, you know. Next to that, we got my big Philodendron Splendid. It is time to propagate this one. This is the newest leaf here. Yeah, that's amazing, but it has reached the top of this pole, so we have to do some type of a chop and extend. And I'll do a video on that. Below that, we got some type of, what is this? This is a Philodendron Majestic. But it's looking real light skinned right now, so I'm not sure what's going on with it, but I don't know, I'm gonna leave it alone. Next to that, we have my Philodendron Bicolor. This is like the newest leaf on the bicolor. And then we have new growth. As you can see in there, it has definitely connected to the pole. Behind that, we have my Philodendron Leighnamii. So this plant was giving me trouble. I don't know if it had some type of pest or what, but soon as I made this new plant room, it's starting to bounce back. It seems like this plant does love the grow lights above, and we got a new leaf on the way. So it'll be all right. Check out my Philodendron Strawberry Shake. Oh yeah, this thing is starting to grow like a weed since I put it in here. It grew 2 new leaves in, what was that? Just in 1 month. This is the new leaf that it put out in this room, and it released this leaf as well. So I'm happy that it's not reverting or anything. It's, you know, every leaf is putting out some color. You know, you gotta have a couple plants that put out some crazy color, and this is the one. Because this is just doing everything. We got pink, we got yellow, we got cream color. This is crazy. In back of that, we have my Philodendron Melanochrysum. Put out a perfect new leaf in this room. And it is definitely connected to the moss pole. So that one is starting to grow fast in here, you know. I can't wait to do a chop and extend on that one. But you know, when I do a chop and extend with this Splendid, that'll give me practice on what to do once this one reaches the top of the pole. We have a Medrium Silver. We have a Alocasia Green Dragon. This is a Philodendron Glorious. Oh, this plant was giving me trouble when it was just a cutting, but it connected to the pole and it's about to start taking off because I know that thing grows fast. Here is my Philodendron Goldiana. Nice red back on the leaf and, you know, a nice mottled color to it. I really like that philodendron. So the rest of these plants are in preparation of being sold on my Etsy shop. So these are a bunch of propagations that should be ready by springtime. So I'll run over these quickly if I can. We have Esmeraldense, Jose Buono, Atabapuense. What is this? White Princess. We have some bicolor, Gloriosum, Chia Pence, Florida Ghost, Bro Mark's Fantasy, and that is some type of Patriciae hybrid, another Chia Pence. All right, check this out. I wanted to talk about this Philodendron Summer Glory. Someone left me a comment on one of my videos and they wanted me to, you know, go in depth a little bit about this plant. It is a hybrid. It's crossed with Macaulay's Finale and Gloriosum. So it does emerge with this, you know, colorful new leaf, and then it'll fade down to this darker green. And it has a nice little shimmer to it. So, I mean, you know, it does have some cool features, especially how that new leaf comes in, you know. But as far as care, I have this one growing in like a chunky Aroid mix. Soon as it dries out a little bit, I water it, you know. I don't fertilize it much, but every watering it has like a little bit of nutrients in the water, you know. But this plant can actually take underwatering a bit, and it also can take overwatering a bit. But one thing that I'll say about this one, it definitely needs like a top-down light in order for it to grow in a neat pattern. This leaf, I was giving it like light coming in from the sides and stuff, and then that's why it's all contorted and growing off to the side. But since it's been in this room getting top-down light, it's starting to grow a lot more compact, you know. And here's a propagation from that plant. It's starting to do well. I think these plants do better under grow lights than it does with the natural sun. Because as soon as I put it in here, it's just growing really nice, you know. This one is actually grown in moss and bark, and it does just fine. That's how I know these plants aren't really picky, you know. It's growing just fine in the moss, and this one is growing just fine in the aeroid mix. So, you know, give it bright light so that it can maintain the color. This one is getting very bright light. That's why it's putting out this bright color. This one was actually bright too. It just faded down to green already, you know. So when it comes down to this Philodendron Summer Glory, I do not think that I'll be putting this in a rectangular pot because you never know what direction this plant is going to start growing in. So I'll just give it a bigger circular pot, but I don't really want to put it in a rectangular pot. I'll let it trail out of the pot if I have to. And if it kind of trails out of the pot and it starts to get unmanageable, I'll just cut it, you know, and keep the top cut and pot it back into whatever pot it's in, you know. So we have my UPI up here. Put out this new leaf, and this new leaf is pretty big. This plant also loves LED lights because it started to grow very compact when when I put it under this LED versus all of these old ones where it's like extremely leggy, you know. So when it comes to these wooden racks, most of these plants will be on my Etsy shop, so I'm not gonna go through all of them. I think one plant that I do want to mention, well, two plants. I have both of my Philodendron Spiritus Sanctis right here. This is the Philodendron Spiritus Sancti that I put on a pole, and it seems to be doing just fine. Let's get it under light so you can kind of see. So hopefully with this moss pole, this plant will mature very quickly. The second one that I do not have on a pole, but it's growing just fine as well. That right there is it's like a variegated heteroecium. That one I feel like is about to take off on this. It's about to take off on this moss pole, you know. But yeah, I got like White Knight, some Hoyas, Bonifaciae back there. If you come up here, I have a bunch of White Princess, Atabapoense, Jose Bono, some more of those. What is this? This is Epiprimnum panatum marble, you know. Syngonium albo. We have the Alocasia scalprum. I have two of those. More Epiprimnum marble. And you know it's the Epiprimnum marble because it does fenestrate even as juvenile, you know. Philodendron gigas, Alocasia golden bone, and that is a Monstera Acacoya guensis. Below that we have the Dieffenbachia reflector, Hoya callistophila. This is a Alocasia aslanii, fishtail Hoya, and this is another Philodendron bicolor. And there's a glorious down there propagating in water. And this old Melanochrysum, I had this Melanochrysum since 2020. And this is the one that first started giving me trouble. But, you know, obviously I've bought another one since then. And then last, we have this IKEA shelving unit. I have a few plants in here. Nothing spectacular going on. It's kind of an afterthought. But that's a Little El Choco Red, Hoya elliptica, this Scindapsus that won't grow, Anthurium. We have this Machiavelli plant down here. This plant really does well in low light because it behaves like a calathea, you know. Then we have another Gloriosum down here. All right, so let me tell y'all, watering the plants in this room is so easy because I just got this Vivo Sun water can, and I just spray these plants down. And when I make the water for this can, I use drops of these nutrients. I'll do like 4 drops of this, 2 drops of that, and 4 drops of that. I like to, do a light fertilizer when I make my nutrient water. And everything is easy because I save a lot of these plastic tops. When I get takeout food, some of these tops, they don't have any holes in them. So I'm able to put them underneath the plants. And being that they're clear, you don't really see them. So I can actually spray this plant down really good, and I don't have to worry about it dripping all over the place, And if it doesn't have this in it, it's probably, it doesn't have any drainage anyway. So anything that has drainage, I put these little plastic underneath it. Same with this here. Okay, so that concludes this tour for 2003. Hopefully you all got some tips and tricks from this houseplant tour. Shout out to my friend Sheena. Shout out to everybody, all my new subscribers. I appreciate you. I have a lot more videos to come. So please like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. I'll see you next time. I'm Dave. We out.